introduce you to our trusty crew. This is Dog Gremlin, Maisie Moo, and this is Grease Gremlin, Tobias.
Oh. Jack the vehicle up, applied chocks to the front wheels, and we're just about to go and install some axle stands under the rear wishbone. But first of all, we need to remove the wheel using my 1/2 inch drive 18V Mac Tools impact gun, a 17mm socket and a splined lock nut key. So first we start with removing the anti-rattle spring from the brake caliper. Do so like this, I find. A nice big pry bar and simply ping it off. Make sure this goes into a safe place for cleaning and putting back on. So now we've removed the anti-rattle spring and the 2 black plastic caps, protective caps from the back of the caliper sliders, we're now going to be using a 70 Allen key bit in 1/2 inch drive with a 1/2 inch drive ratchet to now remove the caliper sliders from the back of the caliper. You'll find one at the top and one at the bottom. Now ready to remove. When greased, these will come off quite easily by hand. So this is the caliper slider that I've removed here. As you can see, it's in fairly good condition, no nicks, burrs, just needs a little bit of cleaning up on the wire wheel and a bit of special brake grease before we put it back in. Now we move to remove the caliper. Sometimes these can be a little bit sticky, so this calls for a little bit of a pry bar manoeuvre here. Just gently ease it from side to side. Now the pads need replacing on this vehicle as they're nearly worn out. Here's our caliper removed. As you can see, not much left on these pads. Good about time we changed them. You must never leave your calipers hanging on the hydraulic hoses like this, so as I would recommend casing a piece of string and tying it up here out the way safely. We have to wind back the piston in our brake caliper, so we use a caliper wind back tool. This piston on this model does not have to be rotated as it's wound in, because the handbrake is actually situated as shoes inside a drum inside the disc. However, we still need the manual screw compression to help us out to slide the piston back in. So we simply take the piston as we have before. As you can see, the piston is all the way out here because the pads were worn down. So we need to wind this back like so. So it will not slip into the grooves on this one, so we have to sit it so it goes on the outside of the piston like so. Perfect. And then we wind. As you can see, the piston nicely retreating. Now it's wound all the way back in, as you can see. We can remove the tool, set it aside and get ready to insert our new brake pads. Put some on the rear spring assembly, just to ease it going in and out. Less is more in this case. Now slide this spring on the back here inside your caliper piston hole like so, nice and secure, fastened in. Second one, same trick, however we don't have any spring assembly on this one, so just a little bit on the sliding assemblies. Slide that one home. Reinsert the caliper, like, and there's your new brake pads fitted in. Is to clean our caliper sliders up. We've cleaned up the caliper sliders and I've just applied a thin layer of copper grease. So now we just have to go and slide these back into their house, the back of the caliper, nice and gently, and line it up with the threaded hole. Started off by hand, make sure it goes in, but don't do this one all the way up until you've got the bottom one in as well. I'm just using this one to locate it. can see it's going in nicely now. That's it, finger tight.
We've got a crest in our new torque wrench for Christmas. It's dialed into 30 Newton meters of torque, ready for Toby to torque them up.
Joe from Valgaon. Well, for our English viewers, thank you very much. I'm going to take our 3/8 drive socket here, slide it in the back onto the caliper sliders, insert it. It's being a little bit of a devil. It's on undo mode, you see. Restricted space in here. There we are. As you can see, that is torqued to correct, that is torqued to spec. No ugger-duggers or FT here, torqued to spec. They're both torqued to spec, so now what I'd like to do is get the caliper caps back out of the box, make sure they're not dirty, and a quick clean off and slide them back on to protect any moisture ingress or dirt or... Now they're back on. One more thing left to do. Anti-Rattle Spring. A little bit trickier to get back on than it is to get off. So we place it here and press down. There we are. She's in. She's a beauty. As you can see, in. Give you a little thing a wobble. You're laughing. Get into the front of the car, just gently depress the brake pedal so I can see the caliper piston come back out, and just make contact the pads to the disc.
Depress.
And release. Depress. Release. And that's how you replace rear brake pads on the back of a 530D Touring. The only thing left to do there will be replace the wheel and torque to spec.